Too often it's the youngest who suffer the most. Across the developing world, malnutrition claims millions of lives every year, many of them babies or toddlers. Behind those figures, not just famine, but wider issues of poverty and poor diet. So could a change in medical practice reduce fatalities? These two retired northeast doctors believe it could. After volunteering in Africa, they became convinced that treatment of an acute form of childhood malnutrition, known as Kwashiorkor, had to change.
I've spent 30 years in the health service making kids better, and I've seen children with a parallel condition in nephrotic syndrome in this country, and I've turned around dozens in my time, and it just works every time. I know that we could do the same for these children, and they're just dying.
Kwashiorkor is caused by a shortage of protein in the diet, which leaves the belly, hands and feet swollen. World Health Organization guidelines currently recommend that victims in shock be treated with intravenous low-salt fluid. But the Newcastle doctors claim treatment instead with intravenous protein in the form of albumin would drastically improve survival rates.
I've demonstrated that academically, and I've written a paper demonstrating that, and that's been published in a world-renowned journal. But people are not going to change their practice. Doctors are conservative. People are not going to change their practice until somebody says, I've done this in children and it made a difference.
After distinguished careers here at Newcastle's Royal Victoria Infirmary, Malcolm Coulthard and Uni Warrior want to turn theory into action. That means travelling more than 6,000 miles to the African state of Lesotho. The medical trial would happen at this hospital in the country's capital, in partnership with local medics. Staff here see around 100 patients with Kwashiorkor every year. This 10-month-old with her mother is recovering. Many do not.
The mortality is very high. Initially, they said 50% of the edematous malnutrition babies who come in with gastroenteritis will succumb.
Paediatrician Madikot Singh says improving treatment would save thousands of lives.
Gastroenteritis, malnutrition, Kwashiorkor affects almost every country in Africa. And we all are victims of this type of gastroenteritis and mortality. So once we have proved what we are trying to propose, it will benefit almost every country in Africa.
But before research can begin, a charity set up by the doctors has to raise £50,000, though the pair themselves will work for free.
Funding is simply for having the equipment to do that, and to have a local nurse to help us for the next 2 years. As far as we are concerned, Malcolm and I am quite happy to give our services as we did, free for that.
You feel very strongly about this?
I am sure that we can make a change if we can do that and prove that we can save many, many more lives.
Luke Walton, BBC Look North.